guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, then hello! Today I thought I'd do a little update video for you guys on my Vietnamese Blue Beauty Snakes. I have some new information to share with you guys, as well as show you a new updated enclosure that I did for them. Not gonna lie, doing the intros to my videos is like one of my favorite parts of editing. I love giving the animals like this little spotlight and awesome moment to themselves. As I've said in previous videos before, I'm trying to have out content when I can. It's been a pretty hectic month for me. I have a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff that are coming up. They're gonna stab me in the kidney. I have a kidney biopsy. Don't know how well I'm going to be after that. Probably a bit traumatized. I also have a neurologist appointment coming up on April 1st, which also happens to be on April Fool's Day because my life's a joke. But anyway, we're gonna get into the update for my Vietnamese Blue Beauty Snakes. I had a friend who was very generous enough to give me a tank that she just kind of had sitting in her garage that she wasn't needing anymore. She kind of lives far away, so I had to make a 2-in-1 trip out to where she lives. I actually have to get a CT scan done for my rabbit, and I had to go out to the city actually where she lives in. So I said, hey, while I'm bringing my rabbit out to my CT scan, could I also pick up the enclosure? So it was perfect timing because my snakes really needed an update. They were getting a little bit too big for the enclosure they have now. We'll get more into the updated enclosure in a bit. So thank you so much to my friend for giving me that. I really appreciate it. So first off, I want to say that I've finally found a name for my male Blue Beauty Snake. Now I have named my female beauty snake Sapphire, but I didn't really have a name for the male. I just called him Blue in the meantime, but that's just what I stuck with until I came across a name that I like. And finally, I have settled on the name Simon. I like the name together, Simon and Sapphire. I think it kind of goes together. So I named him Simon after the character Ice King from Adventure Time, because I'm a child. A lot of my animals I actually name after Adventure Time characters because I'm a huge Adventure Time fan. So yeah, I'm gonna go and have to make a new label for him. Feeding wise, they've been doing amazing. They've been eating great. Sometimes they can be a bit picky and difficult, but for the most part, they take drop feedings really well. My female is an absolute doll. I will just drop a mouse in front of her and, you know, she'll sniff at it a bit and then she'll just eat it right away. So that's awesome. My male can still be a bit picky, but for the most part, he will also take the drop feedings now as well. I usually will separate them during feeding time just so that there's no kerfuffles happening inside the enclosure. And when I did my feeding all my pets video, I believe they were on either Pinky or Fuzzy mice. They're now eating adult mice. So I now will give them about 1 adult mouse once a week. Handling's also been going pretty well. I don't handle them too regularly. I'm one of those people where I just prefer to observe a lot of my animals. If they're friendly and they want to interact with me, then I'll do so. But for the most part, I kind of just prefer to observe a lot of my animals. So I handle them a little bit just so they are kind of used to it. But I've been handling them maybe about 2 times a week. And for the most part, it's been going pretty well. My female can be a little startled at first when I take her out. She usually doesn't try to bite if I'm slow and patient with her, and she calms down pretty quickly. My male, on the other hand, he's still pretty feisty. When I take him out, he does still try to bite and he's still pretty defensive, but within 5 minutes, he calms down now.
I still use the leather gloves when handling, but as I said, they usually will calm down within like 5 minutes and I'll take them off. Like, they're still nervous, I can tell when I'm handling them, but for the most part, they are getting better.
So I'm hoping that the more I work with them, the more progress I will be getting. And I'm already seeing some progress, so I'm pretty happy about that. Some people told me that they handle their Blue Beauty Snakes a lot more often, and that's amazing. And as long as the animal isn't stressed and they're okay with it, then that's fine. But for the most part, it doesn't really bother me too much to handle them too often. Speaking of my male, I'm not sure if you remember, but when I got him, he had a little kink in his tail, but it hasn't caused him any problems, and if anything, it is actually straightening out. it is almost straightened out completely. He still has the littlest kink in his tail, but you can't see it at all. Like, it's barely noticeable. I can barely tell my male from my female now. The only way I'm able to tell is if I really take a good look at them and compare their sizes and their heads. My male's head's just a little bit smaller than my female's, I find. Another way I'm able to tell that it's my male is if he's giving me a little bit more attitude. My female's a lot more calmer when I take her out. Speaking of the breeder, I found the breeder. Thank you, social media. I came across the breeder somehow on my Instagram. Somebody had, I believe, tagged her or said that they had believed that we had the same snakes from the same person. I ended up getting in contact with this person, and indeed they did end up being the breeder. But I found out now that they're from the same clutch. I was under the impression that they were from two separate breeders and that I would be able to breed them, but upon finding the breeder, I have learned otherwise. There must have been a misunderstanding somewhere along the line. I'm not too sure. This now changes things and brings up an interesting conversation and topic, but what my options are gonna be for these guys in the future. I don't really like to rehome my animals. I get really attached to them. I put a lot of work into them. Don't think I would be interested in trading. Maybe if I found somebody that was really trustworthy and they had a really nice beauty snake or something that I didn't mind trading with. The option's still on the table. There's also separating them when they come of age. And then there's the option of letting them breed. Doesn't sound the greatest, but inbreeding with reptiles is not the same as inbreeding with birds and mammals. It doesn't affect them the same way. Inbreeding with reptiles is actually pretty common. It's also how a lot of dog breeding works as well, with purebreds and everything. Of course, if there's too much inbreeding, then that could become a problem. I don't want to get into it too much here, but I don't obviously want to do anything wrong and make any mistakes. So I'm gonna play it by ear, do more research on it, and see what my best options are. But for now, they're still pretty young. They're still under a year old, so I don't have to worry about that at this very moment. So overall, my Blue Beauty Snakes are doing rather well, and I'm still pretty happy with them. I might have to make some different plans for them in the future, but that's okay. They seem happy, they seem healthy, they seem like they're growing well, and I really don't know what else to say. I know we're already halfway through the video, but if you like this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see updates on my pets and videos like this in the future. I'm sorry, I didn't know when to stick this in the video, but I'm doing it now.
So here's the enclosure that I have them in right now. This is an 18 by 18 by 24 Exoterra. You guys saw me set this up in another video. The door of this tank is broken and it's kind of really embarrassing because, like, yeah, that tape, not cute. But I'm gonna be giving it actually to one of my other animals that I just got, which is my long-tailed grass lizards. I'll introduce these guys in another video. But anyway, it's nice that I won't have to sell this tank. One of my blues are out basking right now. Look how lovely. I don't know if that's my male or my female, to be honest. This tank served them for a good 5 or 6 months, which isn't bad for a tank with a broken door. So the new enclosure is just gonna go right in this spot right here, and it should fit quite perfectly. And then I'm gonna move this over here somewhere. But yeah. All right, so here it is. I can't believe that it is still in the packaging. As I said before, I had to go out to get a CT scan done for my rabbit, and she lives only 10 minutes away from where the veterinary college was. So I just did a 2-in-1 trip to get my rabbit CT scan done and pick up this enclosure all in one. So it's been a pretty productive day. You can see that it's just been collecting like dust in her garage. So you can see here, this is the large wide Exoterra, and it is a 36 by 18 by 18. So these guys are semi-arboreal. So this is great enclosure for sizing them up. So yeah, we're gonna go take all the packaging off and then we're gonna go put it in its place. I took off the top and guys, look! I've been trying to get my hands on one of these. So these help you keep your tank doors closed. And as I just said, that tank door is broken, and now I have something to keep it closed.
Here's what it looks like out of the packaging, by the way, and it will just sit on the top of the tanks like that to keep them closed. Now, I would love to do a custom background for this tank, but ultimately I just want my snakes to get into their new enclosure as soon as possible, so I'm just gonna leave the background. It doesn't really bother me too much. It's just like styrofoam. Not a huge fan of these backgrounds, not gonna lie. Maybe when I upgrade them, I will do a nice background for this tank and give it to another animal, but for now, this is okay. This is where the Vietnamese Blue Beauties tank was before. I have now moved it to over here. It actually fits quite nicely and I'm able to still open up my tank doors and get over here, no problem. I'll probably get like a nice stand for this. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. Okay, so these are the supplies that we are going to be using for our tank build for the excuse me. So as I was trying to say, these are the things that we're going to be putting into our tank upgrade. I've done a few tank builds on my channel, so I think I'm just gonna speed through this one and just kind of show you guys the final results and give you all a little tour and an update, and yeah. I also have the holy shabam of wood. Some of this is wood that I bought some nice cork, and then some of it is wood that I collected myself and disinfected. Got some hydro balls for our drainage layer. Got some Repti soil. You can use other types of soil like jungle mix, but this is just what I prefer. I like the Repti soil because I find it actually a lot softer to work with. That's just my personal opinion. We got some of the mosses. I have some sphagnum moss here. Price tags. I got some frog moss that I'm gonna see if I can try growing inside the enclosure. Some lovely plants to decorate it all. I'm not going too crazy. I've had these plants quarantining for about 2 weeks now, and I've also changed out the soil and given them a rinse, so they're all good to go into the vivarium. I don't know if I'll put that in there. Then we're gonna be taking some of the furnishings from their old enclosure and putting it into the new one as well. Here I just have some isopods and springtails that I'm also going to be adding to this to make it bioactive. They're just some little dwarf whites that I have. Nothing too fancy. And springtails are springtails. And I surprisingly still have some leaf litter that I collected from the fall. So yeah, I'm going to add that to the enclosure and it'll be perfect. Already gone ahead and added the hydro balls and a screen layer to separate it and some soil. It's awesome. So I've done a bioactive vivarium setup on my channel before for my emerald tree skinks. So I'm not actually going to record me doing this. We're just going to fade this out and get right to the good stuff. Wow, I am very proud of myself. Oh my goodness. Alright guys, so this is the final product for my Vietnamese Blue Beauty Snake tank. This is again just another upgrade. I'll probably use this tank for another animal in the future once they're too big for it, but this is looking awesome right now. I am so happy with how this turned out. So let's do a little tour and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so we'll start on the left side of the tank over here. So we have their water dish, of course. That is a staple. It's big enough for them to soak in. Then I also have some cork wood pieces here and there. This one I put on the ground and I kind of made a little bit of a higher level. And then I sort of dug under it, so I'm hoping that they'll be able to go under there and use it as another hiding area. Then back here we have another hide. Ooh, a little coconut. Then I gave them a little ledge to lay on. They seem to like it a lot. Then in the middle of the tank we have the big plant there, and I also have this giant wood piece going across as well, all the way to the back area over there. Now going to this side of the tank, Over here, I actually have a cork round, and it's shoved nicely into the back corner over there, and I was able to kind of make a higher ground in the back right over there. You can't see too well, but I shoved some sphagnum moss into that cork round as well, so it gives them a little bit of a humid hide. They have another hide. You can't see it too well. Wait. They have another hide back here as well in the higher ground area. I don't like my tanks to be just like one level all the way across. I like to give them like kind of different levels to choose from, and it also makes the landscaping just a lot nicer in my opinion. Then we have a lovely Bella Palm over there, some pothos that's starting in the back there, and then I have it coming down and around in the back and comes all throughout the whole tank. Then with that frog moss, I have it just sort of placed randomly throughout the tank where I can see it, and I think it looks so pretty. Some leaf litter for the springtails and the isopods. These are some magnolia leaves that I bought, but I also mixed them with some of my own leaf litter as well. Lastly, for lighting, I have a Repti Sun 5.0 UVB. I like to give my diurnal snakes UVB lighting. There is some stuff that shows that it's beneficial, and it also helps promote the plant growth as well. But for the plants, I ultimately just am using a sun blaster, and the heat that is let off of these is actually enough to heat the enclosure and give them like a nice hot spot. These guys don't like it super hot, so this is pretty nice. I honestly don't know what else to say. I'm just super thrilled, and I am really excited to get them into their new enclosure. So let's get to it, guys. Ready to go into your new home? This tank's gonna need a bit of a clean after, that's for sure. Here's the blues, guys. Wow. And I think they're gonna help themselves to introducing to their own enclosure. All right, you're the only one that's last. You ready to go into your new home?